Welcome to Desk Geek. I know what you've been waiting for, the performance video. The first video I teased you a little bit with the unboxing. I was teasing a little bit of foreplay, but now we're here, and I'm going to start off with the big bang, the big finale, and just show you how awesome this card is. In fact, you're not even going to be able to really see how awesome this card is unless you're actually staring at your screen, a non-pre-recorded YouTube uploaded version of it. But not only am I recording this at the same time, but I have every setting here set to ultra. And there's a little Easter egg in Doom. And there's a couple settings you can even set to nightmare. And if you'll notice up in the right hand corner, it's going to show this frames per second. Now right now it's locked at 60 frames per second because it's just the intro screen. It's locked at that. But once we get into the game, you're just going to see how it powers through at 60 frames per second and eats it up for dinner and spits it back out. This card is an unstoppable beast. It is absolutely incredible how much power is inside this 1070. I'm blown away. Let's get in and show you just how amazing this card can eat it up. While I'm recording, by the way, which takes up a lot of GPU as well. So let's get into the game. We'll just already beat this game, by the way. Doom 2016. Absolutely incredible game. So with everything here, 32 gigabytes of RAM, i7 6700K. Game loads up very fast, considering how big and powerful this game is. So here we go into the fire, and look at that frame rate. Look at that frame rate jumping. Isn't it beautiful? I wish my console could get to 60 frames per second. I'm not going to buy this console unless it does 60 frames per second. PC Master Race all the way. Look at those frames per second. Look at it. Look at it. Isn't it gorgeous? It's just eating the game up. And by the way, you can't even put nightmare settings on unless you have 8 gigabytes of memory on your video card. Won't even allow you to set it up. So this is a super high setting to show off the power of this graphics card, and show off this card does. So you can see we're averaging somewhere around 100 frames per second. It gets into high action, but it might drop down to the measly 70 or 80 frames per second. By the way, while we're recording this in high definition, it's just absolutely incredible. Just, you could see this screen. I wish all of you could just come over and see this thing. Better yet, go buy one, because it is just worth every single penny. It is such a great card. You can see it just is powering through. Absolutely no stutter, no hesitation, no frame drops, nothing. And with the 390X, which I love, by the way, it was a beautiful card. The 390X was an amazing video card, so I don't want to take away from that. Obviously, this is the new one, the newest thing from NVIDIA. ATI makes some incredible cards, and the 390X is no exception. But one of the things about the 390X is the power consumption was incredible, and the heat. When I was playing this game, by the way, not on the ultra settings, just on high, the heat would pour out of the case and just these bursts, like I had a heater under my desk because I had the case open and my legs right next to the case, and it would just do these pulses of heat. And with this card, there's no heat at all, nothing. And the case is still open, my legs right next to it. It just acts like it's, you know, web browsing. No noise, no fan speed increases, no high end, you know, revving up to try to keep up. This is like, whatever. Nightmare mode, ultra settings, hundreds of frames per second. What I eat for breakfast. So we're going to get into some other things here that I'll show you. We're going to get into some of the benchmarks. I'm not huge on benchmarks. You know, I like the real world application, which is why I wanted to show you this first, but we'll do some of the free 3D Mark benchmarks on this card, and I'll talk about some of the setup here coming up. But wanted to treat you, since you waited so patiently after my first video, to some gameplay right off the bat and just show you what this thing is capable of. So, I hope you are rightfully jealous of this card at the moment. and I hope that encourages you to go get one yourself and come log into Doom, and we will kill one another like crazy. Alright, I gotta stop gaming. Time to get serious. Let's look at the benchmarks. Right after this. Ha! Alright. Alright, so I know one of the things you're going to want to know is the benchmarks. I don't put a whole lot into benchmarks. It's not my favorite way of determining if I love something or not, but certainly it's fun to run benchmarks every now and then and just see where you stand. So you can see the setup I have here. I'm using the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 by Gigabyte. I've got the Intel Core i7-6700K, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and the graphics score was 18,125. The graphics test that this ran on the free 3D Mark test was averaging around 86.2 frames per second, and the test 2 was 72 frames per second, and you've got your physics score and your combined score here. So what does all of that mean? Well, at the end of the day, not a whole lot, to be honest with you. But the other area I wanted to show here is the percentile. So this was another run, and I just took a screenshot of it here. This just shows you in this screenshot that this card and this system setup is better than 90% of all the results that are run. So that's above the gaming PC, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift minimum specs, and just below the 4K gaming PC, where they basically have the i7, the highest end processor, the highest end, I think it's two 980 Ti's. It was, in fact, two 980 Ti's for the 4K gaming PC that scored that 17,805. So just below that by a few thousand points, but overall better than 90% of the scores run here. So that's quite an incredible feat for this. So again, I just ran the free 3D Mark here to show you that, because I know that would be something you guys were interested in. What I do want to talk about overall is just the installation, unboxing, and everything. So you in the unboxing video in part 1, you can see it's just a very standard video card. It takes up 2 slots, but it's very thin profile, so it'd be very easy to run 2 1070s if you wished and you had that kind of money. As far as installation, I ran the AMD cleaner or ATI cleaner software for my previous R9 390X, and so that removed all of those previous drivers, and the installation was very clean. Now Gigabyte, with their 1070 Founders Edition, came with 2 pieces of software. Those pieces of software are the GeForce Experience and 3D Mark, or I'm sorry, GeForce Experience and the Gigabyte OC Guru, which you're seeing right here. So this is for you to overclock this card. Now I don't do overclocking, so this doesn't really impact me a whole lot. Number one, because generally I'm in the high-end components anyway, so there's not a lot that takes advantage of all of the power that's already here in this system. And number two, it does and can kill the life of some of your components, and I like to keep mine pretty pristine and have a long life on them. So I don't mess with overclocking, but I know a lot of folks do, and I would definitely recommend, if you're going to be overclocking, that you're doing some type of third-party cooling system for your video card, or have quite an extensive airflow system set up in your case. But you can see you can change your megahertz here, your memory clock, and you can add to that those speeds and create several different profiles depending on what you're doing. So that works pretty well. It looks like it's just on par with every other manufacturer's overclocking. As far as installing the software and the video cards working, it worked flawlessly immediately, so I was very, very happy with that. You witnessed how fantastic it does with the video games, and I will show you here just a quick glance at some rendering for the video, and that's with the high definition video. So I'll open Adobe Premiere here, we'll do a video editor, and we'll take a look at the first video. Let's add some media. No, let's not do that. Let's go to our recent projects. And so this is a recent video that I just completed and posted yesterday. So if I go to the 920 by 1080 and I go ahead and start rendering that video, we'll just name this X for testing. You can see that about a 5-minute video is going to render in about 4 minutes is the estimated time here, and it's moving very quickly. So maybe a minute or two faster than the R9 390X. It just depends on the video. I'll tell you some other differences that I noticed right away. One was with OBS and with XSplit. I was unable to record Doom gameplay on the 390X. I assume there was some type of setting in there that had something to do with ATI that kept that card from being able to record without Doom shutting down. The only way I could record Doom was to literally record the monitor screen itself and not actually choose game capture within OBS or within XSplit. It didn't matter. They'd both shut down the game immediately. I did not have that experience with other games, but Doom certainly did that. Now when I switched to the new card, the 1070, that issue went away and I had it no more. I can record through the game capture Doom with no problem. So again, probably something that was done in the software with Doom that's not compatible with some of the architecture that ATI has. So I don't necessarily put that as a minus against the 390X, but certainly something to keep in mind if the game manufacturers, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, do not write specifically. A lot of them write their stuff specifically for NVIDIA. Generally, they can be paid to write for NVIDIA. And this screen going black and then coming back has nothing to do with the video card, by the way. It's all with the 3D Mark software, because I've experienced that and nothing else. And I think just because they don't want me saving this, because they want you to buy the full version before you can save your results. Kind of silly and stupid, but whatever. That's why I don't mess with benchmarking software. In any case, so my overall impressions of the card are this. I think that versus the 390X, the 1070 is certainly faster. How much faster? It's, it's fast. The 390X was a very fast card, so it's really hard to say, but it's definitely, you're going to able to pump your settings to the absolute max, and the card doesn't even stutter, as you can see with the frame rates per second, whereas the 390X was pumping out a ton of heat and was not able to run everything in the nightmare settings very fluently, so certainly not at that frame rate per second. So from that standpoint, 1070 is definitely, but if you're not putting everything on max and ultra settings and nightmare modes and all of that, the difference between them is this: the 1070 is a thinner profile, the 1070 overall is faster and does not consume as much heat, nor does it need as much power to run. And for that, I give it very high marks. So my overall impression of this card is it's blown me away. It is so super fast. It's fast, it's efficient, it's quiet, it's absolutely everything that I expected from reading all the reviews and comments on the 1070 that it could be. I don't think there's anything you could throw at this card that would really make it hiccup. You running in 4K, it would breeze through it. VR, without a doubt, run it without a problem. I mean, it's running 130, 160 frames per second on nightmare settings in Doom. It's just not going, you're not going to make this card stop. There would be no reason other than overkill to really run two of these. And in that case, you're just showing off, which is cool. But you're still just showing off because this card is so incredible. Now, the 1080, I don't even want to know what that thing's capable of. I don't know what you could possibly do with it that the 1070 is not capable of running yet. So maybe there's a game out there that you guys might know of, or something I can throw at this card to try to slow it down that the 1080 could run instead, but I really haven't found anything. I've tried some of the other games that I've had in my Steam profile. I think there was a brand new one that just released, like Techromancer or something along those lines, very graphically intensive, and all the ultra settings, it runs it like smooth as butter. So the 1070 is an incredible card. 390X was an incredible card. The 1070 definitely takes the cake. It's the newest one, but of course you have the ATI 480, which would be a more fair comparison, right, against this 1070 card, to use the latest against the latest. But for me, in my upgrade from the 390 to 1070, I'm very happy. There were certain annoyances that would happen with the the ATI specific drivers and things that would not work right away that you would have to tweak, that I'm not finding with NVIDIA, and that's just because they have a monopoly on the market and a lot of people are writing for them. So overall, I can't give this thing any less than a Geek Squeal rating, 5 out of 5 all day long. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions about the 1070 before you pick one up, or if you've picked up the 1070 and 1080 even and you want to show me or tell me about how awesome it is. I would love to hear it. Until next time, fill your brains.
Don't get subscribed. Thumbs up like the video.